And the men are off for individual test number 1. 3,000 meter ski, and it looks like someone needs to tell Dallin Pepper that it's 3,000 meters, not 300.
My man got on that bike real quick. I don't know if we got a shot of that, but my man got on the bike, and he revved it up. He gave it a little Hemi action out of the gate. Now, again, if we were chasing calories, building that momentum can.
All right, let's speak to the difference there. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so, when we exponentially work into calories, there's an opportunity for us to rev up the fan speed and be rewarded faster for greater work early. We even noticed that as you slow down, the calories still continue to tick over at a bit of a faster rate. It's less for the Echo than for the Assault bike, but also when you now flip the Echo bike into distance versus calories, you're not necessarily rewarded in the same way when it comes to effort. And what we've seen already, just like we alluded to, is that, hey, you can gain 2 to 3 seconds on somebody by going quite a bit harder on the erg, but it ain't worth it in this test.
The lane assignments for your third and final heat. In lane 1, Evan Rogers. Lane 2, Alexander Carone. Lane 3, Jake Berman. Lane 4, Marquand Jones. Lane 5, Saxon Panchek. Lane 6, James Sprague. Lane 7, Roman Karenikov. Lane 8, Spencer Panchek. Lane 9, Samuel Cornier. Lane 10, Dallin Pepper. Lane 11, Jeffrey Adler. Lane 12, Noel Olson. Lane 13, Jack Farlow. Lane 14, Tyler Christoffel. Lane 15, Jason Hopper. Lane 16, Will Morad. Lane 17, Cam Crockett. Lane 19, Seth Stovall. And in lane 20, Griffin Raleigh. Now, I know there are 12 spots available for this men's division here in the North America East. I think it's the most spots available across all semifinals for the men. But I just read a list of 20 that all of them have an opportunity to make the CrossFit Games. And that's not counting some of the athletes in the earlier heats that didn't qualify for this heat in particular that could be here.
Like Alex Vigneault?
Like Alex Vigneault.
Been to the CrossFit Games a few times. Got a lot of fitness in there. Yeah, I mean, listen, we are extremely fortunate to have a competition floor laced with the amount of veterans and the amount of fitness that is out there. And that's why this is the place to be. With 12 spots, this is going to be the most highlighted semifinal that we're probably going to come across on the male side. Each of these athletes feeling like they have a place and a place to belong at the CrossFit Games. So it's going to be amazing to watch them fight tooth and nail throughout the course of this weekend and see what happens. But I'll tell you what, I can't help, and I know people have commented on this on the stream, Roman is moving. And there's a lot of athletes out here where I could create like some harsh judgments, right? Like they're going fast and I'll be like, hey, bro, you might be making a mistake.
Pump the brakes, big dog.
But let me tell you something. Roman Kronikov is not one of them.
No.
Roman gets on the machine and goes fast, and I'm just like, well, that's just Roman doing Roman things.
Well, what did he say at the Rogue Invitational last year doing basically the Echo Bike DT? It's like, my casual pace is faster than everybody's faster pace.
That's right. Yeah, and when you're playing with house money, you get to play with the field a little, right? Like Roman's got reserves when it comes to these ergs and his overall engine and power output. He's not a small human, so moving the sled should also be advantageous for him. He's a natural favorite when you consider what this test is made up of. But I can tell you that a vet like Roman has also learned to draw other people out of their comfort zone. There's a bit of that gamesmanship involved, especially in a long workout. It's like, hey, if I can get a couple other competitors to go a little fast too soon, I can really blow them up.
And on cue, Roman Karenikov is out, followed by Jason Hopper.
The other big dog.
Samuel Cornier, Jeff Adler, Dallin Pepper. Here they come. The men of Heat 3 are all taking it to the first sled pull.
Now we get to watch and see what this sled is moving like. And I don't want us to put too much onus on the first 3 trips, right? Because what we've noticed is when you get off the runner, that's when we really get to see what your strategy looks like and how your pacing has affected you with the sled. But these guys are all making light work of the sled right now.
Roman Karenikov, your early leader, off the Echo Bike first, done with his first sled pull. But here come Jack Farlow, Jason Hopper, another one of those athletes that When we talk machine work, that guy is one of the best in the business, at least on the Echo bike. That guy lives to succeed on the Echo bike. But Dallin Pepper has closed the gap on Roman Karenikov. Dallin Pepper is in the middle left part of your screen. And Dallin Pepper having to readjust his sled as he runs the rope back. Roman Karenikov has now moved ahead, so part of this is navigating your sled on here on the rubber. Dallin Pepper had to basically fix his sled, as you see Jason Hopper in the front part of your screen. So Karenikov slowing down a bit on the pull. And I don't know if there's a correlate here, Adrian. You would know better than I would, but one of Karenikov's weaknesses is high volume, upper body gymnastic pulling. Can that manifest itself in this horizontal sled pull? As Dallin Pepper gets to the air runner first.
And he's established a solid pace here, even looking smooth on the runner as he's going to try to create some separation there. But you mentioned, could Roman's upper body pulling be a limitation for him? And there's no doubt about it, Chase, but this one's very different. His body weight is going to create more of an advantage for him than a disadvantage. We often see his upper body pulling limit him in legless rope climbs and or specifically ring muscle ups, where he's maneuvering that 227 frame versus this 227 frame in this test specifically creates advantages. Mass moves mass. But none of these gentlemen here are small. As we look at Pepper listed at 215, we think about Hopper listed in at 220. Like the size of their body and the size of their engine is all an advantage here in this particular test.
You got James Sprague, Roman Karenikov, Samuel Cornier, Dallin Pepper, Jeff Adler, Noah Olson, Jack Farlow, Hopper, Moran, Cam Crockett.
I love it. People commenting on Dallin, they're like, yo, he looks way more jacked than last year. And I'm like, well, you know,
puberty.
He's only 21 years old.
He's called puberty.
He's barely becoming a man. So we're going to watch that man continue to transform throughout his career, he and Jack Farlow both.
One of these athletes I'm excited to see back in-person competition, or not in-person, sorry, individual competition, is the man left of Dallin Pepper in the center part of your screen in the black shorts is Samuel Cornier, who went team last year.
Man,
has had, I would say, a lot of hype around him about his individual capacity and skill set to be a force at the CrossFit Games individually.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Sam Cornier is a tremendous athlete, and one that can get overlooked, right, when it comes to, he was on a team last year. No doubt he's going to be a bit in Rich's shadow, but you got to think about the lessons that he learned being in that environment, day in and day out, preparing with that team, not just to show up, but to win. That's going to allow him, from a mindset perspective, to not show up at the CrossFit Games this year or not show up at this semifinal with the intention to punch a ticket. He wants first place, and he's been preparing himself not just physically but also mentally to put himself in that situation. I can't wait to really see how he plays this event as we see all 7 tests come together in the next few days.
To the left of Samuel Cornier is Spencer Panchek in the maroon shorts, just getting to the runner pretty recently. Roman Karenikov to the left in the gray top, black pants. On the side of the competition floor, we've got Noah Olson and Jeff Adler. Noah Olson making sure his hair's on point, slicking it back during the run. They're called headbands, by the way.
Yeah, he's got that coif, you know, it bounces. It's a little bit. It sometimes gets displaced, and
it looks good. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't look good. To his right, you see Jack Farlow, one of the younger athletes in the field. He's in the black shirt, white shorts. To his right, you have Tyler Christoffel. Tyler Christoffel, another one of those athletes that is just trying to break that glass ceiling to the CrossFit Games as an individual, so close for so many years. Jason Hopper to his right in the all-black Nike shirt. And Will Morad. Will Morad might have been the story of semifinals last year with the largest comeback in a single event in competition history at 81 points.
It was phenomenal. I mean, I remember watching it, not even expecting it to be possible, right? Like, just kind of like, that's a bummer. Will's not going back. He's had a rough year, you know what I mean? And then it turned into like the Cinderella story, the best Cinderella story we've seen in CrossFit.
And on the flip side of every Cinderella story is heartbreak. And that's what we see in the front part of your screen. Next to Roman Karenikov on the right, just to his left in the gray shorts, no top. That's James Sprague.
That's right.
Who was in a comfortable 5th place position going into the final event, losing out by maybe 1-2 points to Will Morad's dramatic comeback.
Yep. Unfortunately, there's always someone on the other end, and you mentioned that. And James Sprague is a young athlete growing up within the space. We've also watched him mature as he's 21 years old, a longer framed athlete, which, you know, many of these tests this weekend I really think can go in the favor of James. I know that he's spent a tremendous amount of time in Naples under the tutelage of Matt Torres and the Brute Squad there. He's training partners with Dallin Pepper. Like, they've been refining his weaknesses, building up his strength. So I'm excited to see how he also takes this test.
One of the things we've heard Hinshaw talk about is how you can kind of predict how some people are feeling on the runner or on a run in general. And looking at body position, shoulders, are they relaxed? Is it a smooth cadence versus kind of a sloppy trot? You know, and as you're scanning the field, you know, these athletes can't see themselves do it, but, you know, Adrian, as you're looking around, you can kind of tell who's feeling comfortable and confident and those that are just trying to get through this 2K the best they can.
Yeah, man, and I really like the cadence that Roman Kronikov has got going right now. He looks composed. He's still naturally going to have a pretty long stride cadence, or stride length. Same with James. And we've got something a little different here when we look at Spencer Panchik, who's got a bit more of like the hips leaning back, torso leaning forward, reaching with the steps a little bit more, and you wonder, will that be blowing up his hamstrings as this event unfolds or as the weekend unfolds? But yeah, you see good positive body language from most of the competitors at this point, which this is a pretty savvy group. Most probably understand exactly what Chris Hinshaw highlighted with us in our conversation through the last few heats, is that you can't really gain much separation here, and the juice isn't really worth the squeeze.
Got the men bun battle here on the lanes 19 and 20 between Seth Stovall and Griffin Raleigh.
Will be done at least for this first test for the day, Larry.
Then you have James Sprague on the left side of your screen, Roman Karenikov to his right in the gray and black, Spencer Panchik in the maroon. And, you know, we can see Spencer's face. It's not the most comfortable as we see some of the athletes next to him, especially when we look over at Saxon. Spencer getting to the runner a bit later than most people. It looked like the sled was causing him a bit more problems.
And that can be a double-edged sword there, right? When you find yourself behind in a longer event, what's that do? It creates some duress. You have some urgency. You want to try to fight to find ways to make up time. And often it's not worth it. Hopefully he can gain his composure here through the latter part of this run and be able to get off in a more strong state for those sled pulls to come.
Jason Hopper on the right side of your screen, Tyler Christoffel and Jack Farlow. Currently sitting in lanes 13, 14, and 15. As we are at the midpoint of test number 1 for the individual men's. This is heat 3. We've had heat 2 go. I believe that Alex Vigneault has the unofficial time to beat at 22:59. 30-minute capped event. We've already done a 3,000-meter bike.
We got a hand up for Jason Hopper, and Hopper's not foreign to excelling at these longer workouts that involve some external loading, as we watched him take event 1 at the Rogue Invitational this last October as well. And him being one of the athletes that we've seen also make steady strides within our sport is under the tutelage of Matt Fraser there at HWPO. And you wonder, is this an opportunity for Jason to have a weekend where we say, uh-oh, Justin, he's coming for you, right? Is that an opportunity? I think when I look at this, the overall programming layout, I'm like, hey, man, they might have thrown you a bone with this weekend if you can do it right.
Hey, and what do we see with athletes that have they have a great event and then it carries over into competition? I will say, though, you're talking about Hopper. That didn't happen for him at the MAC 2 years ago in his performance in the CrossFit Games. He goes out and wins the thing. Disappointing performance in the CrossFit Games. I think he flipped that a little bit last year.
Right.
Maybe this year he can really take it to the next level.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see from a lot of these developing athletes is consistency, because that's what we see from Mr. Medeiros, right? And that's, of course, who they're all kind of gunning down and trying to dethrone.
On to the second sled pull, 84 total feet. Off the runner first was actually James Sprague. who's making his way down for his second pull. Roman Karenikov has caught up. But we saw last time Karenikov had a great first pull, but the next two after that were a bit of a struggle for him.
Adler here, the first one to join Hopper.
Jeff Adler, middle part of your screen, gray shorts, no top, 5th place at the CrossFit Games last year, 5th place in 2020. Is this the year that Jeff Adler can get himself on the podium? And honestly, a rich history of Canadian men on top of the podium. Maybe you go all the way back to OPT back in the day, right? James Fitzgerald.
James Fitzgerald, yep.
The first people to win the CrossFit Games in 2007, and then you look at the success we've had from Pat Vellner, Brett Fikowski. Can Adler be that new Canadian male superstar to join those ranks of elite individual men that have podium at the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you look back, look at his resume. Just look at his resume, folks, because it does speak for itself. Jeff is a quieter athlete. You're not going to find him trying to make a presence for himself on social media, or I don't know that he has a YouTube channel. If it is, I don't follow it, but he's just a more soft-spoken individual that is more about the fitness on the field. But when you look at his history, it is rich.
And it looks like James Sprague continue his lead on the field after the 2K run and is on to the ski erg. James Sprague, who had a great performance, as we just said, at last year's semifinal. And it all came down to the last event and basically a miracle performance by Will Morad to miss out by just a handful of points. But when you look at Sprague's skill set, it shapes up, I think, very well for him in most of the events this weekend. There's not really that one rep max test. We have a snatch under fatigue coming up. That'll be tomorrow for test 4 and test 5. Linda, we've got some heavy dumbbells in there. But as you said, if you have a chance to get 100 points, you go get 100 points.
You go get 100 points, man. You have literally got to fight tooth and nail in this field. A mini CrossFit Games here on the East Coast. You have absolutely got to seize every opportunity that presents itself to you. And his long frame and his big engine can certainly take and seize the moment here in test 1 if he can hang on to the pace that he's established.
Roman Karenikov in the gray and black. Just to the left of James Sprague, who's on the right side of your screen. If you guys remember Roman Karenikov and what that guy can do on a ski erg, what we saw at swimming stuff.
Like I said before, Larry, this is just individual test number 1.
Or rinse and repeat. Sorry, rinse and repeat. Last year at the CrossFit Games. But I am surprised that as well as he's done in the machines, he has not struggled, but compared to the other top athletes in this heat, the sled posing a bit more of a problem for Roman Karenikov. James Sprague on the right side of your screen, first to the ski erg. On the other side of the competition floor, Jason Hopper was second.
Yep.
He's on the other side of the floor, so James will not, well, he could see him. He is facing that direction.
Yeah, he's definitely going to know where he's at. If the hand goes up, I don't know that he'll be able to see the judge from there, but as they exit this ski, which we know, hey, this is where the workout happens right here. This is where the test is decided.
This is your full field, lane 1 all the way to lane 20. You see on the left side of your screen is Spencer Panchak.
Yeah.
Stuck on the sled, but his brother Saxon also
struggling.
Stuck on the sled. So the Panchak brothers are right now dead last, along with, looks like Jake Berman.
Yeah, you think about it. I mean, them weighing in at about 180 pounds. I don't know how accurate that is, but some of the lighter athletes in this heat, that sled is going to cause some trouble for it.
Hand in the air for Jason Hopper. Hand in the air for James Sprague. James Sprague is done. James Sprague off the skier. Now has 3 pulls.
And this is where you can't waste time.
Potentially get an event win here.
You got to get the rope out of the way and get your sled moving.
Unofficial best score, 22:59 by Alex Vigneault, set in heat number 1. Trying to see what the time clock is here.
We're in the 20-minute range right now. I can't see the second.
Right around that 20-minute. James Sprague, center part of your screen in the gray shorts on the first sled pull. Jason Hopper, far right side. He's on his first pull.
That heavyweight across the arena floor. Sprague has 1 lap down, 2 more to go. He is
about 20-25. We're about midway through the 20s, approaching 21 minutes here.
Jason Hopper, bottom right tab of your screen. Top left sled.
Uh-oh, we got a big snafu here with James' sled.
James
Literally
Sprague.
spin.
Left side of your screen, flipped the sled when he tried to turn it around, so James Sprague had to run all the way back to fix the sled, and that's going to open the door for Jason Hopper on the bottom right side of your screen. Roman Karenikov trying to get through his first sled pull, but James Sprague, it looks like he's going head-to-head now with Jason Hopper. Jason Hopper, bottom right side of your screen. James Sprague. James Sprague now on his final sled pull. Had flipped the sled over.
He can't afford now. Hopper's on the run here. Here we go. He can't afford to flip it this time. It's got to be straight.
James Sprague's sled is absolutely chewed up in the front part of that sled, where Jason Hopper is a bit more. Jason Hopper, bottom right side of your screen. James Sprague on the left. James Sprague has been leading since we got off the air runner, and it's coming down to one final pull across the finish line. James Sprague, one of the youngest athletes in the field, missed the games by a handful of points last year, trying to pick up those precious points in this one.
He's got an opportunity. Hopper's making up ground. He's now past him.
Jason Hopper might have one more.
Done.
Jason Hopper will take individual men test number 1.
Sprague just a few pulls away.
Sprague about one more pull on the left side of your screen, and that's just a handful of seconds, as you can see Hopper. Roman Karenikov looking to hold off Noah Olson.
22:30 for Sprague.
James Sprague unofficially 22:30. That should be good enough for second overall. The best time coming in was 22:59. So it looks like Jason Hopper could have picked up a very valuable first place finish for test number 1.
Roman's across the finish line.
Roman crosses the finish line. Jeff Adler, middle right part of your screen. Here comes Dallin Pepper on the left. Jeff Adler in the middle, Dallin Pepper on the left. Adler has about a 10-foot lead on Dallin Pepper. It looks like Adler may be in that next person to finish, as Dallin Pepper on the left side.
Adler with his hands on his knees, though, given some reprieve here. It looks like he might have run into some trouble with his grip. He's back to work.
Jeff Adler.
Dallin trying to close the gap.
Middle lanes, Jeff Adler on the right. Dallin Pepper taking a break, chalking up his hands. Tyler Christoffel on the far right, trying to finish his last pull. Here comes Samuel Cormier to the left. Noah Olson running over for his 5, but Jeff Adler will cross the finish line.
Will Morad into his final length. Pepper just a few pulls away here.
Looks like Dallin Pepper, left side of your screen, being next across the finish line. We've got a few minutes until we hit that 30-minute cap. If you guys just missed the end, we had a race between James Sprague and Jason Hopper. Jason Hopper ended up getting to take the win, as Sprague was having some trouble with his sled. Roman Karenikov has finished as well. The next to finish looks like it could be Noah Olson.
Will Morad is going to be a few pulls just ahead of Noah right now. They're literally going pull for pull here. I think Morad just overtook him.
See
Will about
Moore
2
at.
pulls away. Yep.
Will Moore to the left part of your screen. Jeff Adler coming to the finish line. Alexander Carone trying to finish out his final pull.
Less than 5 minutes to go. Barlow wraps it up just past the 25-minute.
Noel Olson, left part of your screen, lane 12. Got about 1 or 2 more pulls left to go.
Also, looks like 1 more pull to go.
Spencer still just chipping away at his ski.
Now what's up? Jake Berman, Spencer Panchek still on the ski is Saxon Panchek. And we're seeing a few of these sleds causing a lot of havoc here.
5:38. Evan Rogers eyeballing the finish, as is Marquand Jones.
Marquand Jones, bottom right side of your screen. Samuel Cormier is done.
Yeah, but 4 minutes remaining. 4 minutes, athletes.
Got Seth Stovall, left side of your screen in the white shirt.
And this is where, for these guys, dude, anywhere in this heat they finish, they have to have urgency. There's so many people now that they're fighting for us every second. All the other finishes from all the other heats.
Seth Stovall is done. Below him, Dylan Pettit in the white shirt. To his left, Cam Crockett, black shorts. Pettit will be done.
Marquand Jones, same story, just a few.
Marquand Jones, red shorts. About 1 more pull to go.
And Jones wraps it up around 20.
He'll finish test number 1 for the individual men.
Time on the clock for these fellas to get done.
Spencer Panchek just got off the 1,000-meter ski.
Saxon Panchek working on his last leg of pulls.
Great job, my guy. Hey, we're standing here with James Sprague, who came in number 2 in that heat overall. James, what are your thoughts on this test? How was it balanced out between the sled and the ergs? Was it what you expected?
No, it wasn't. When we trained this piece, we thought it'd be more of a machine bias. Today approaching it, we made it more of a sled bias. And man, great start. Got the body really warmed up for a big weekend, and just so stoked to be here.
I got another question for you, man. I saw that your sled legit flipped over, man. In your mind, how did you recover from that to go get it quick, get it back on track, and then keep pulling?
Yeah, you always expect a margin of error in competition. Not everything's going to go your way, so you make do with what you got. It cost me the event win, but hey, you know what? A second place is great. Just going for consistency this weekend, so you know, little things might happen here and there the rest of the weekend like that. Just got to take them where you get them. Make do.
Great job, brother. Way to start this weekend out for James Sprague. Thank you for your comment, bro.
Our next athlete, Tyler, lane 14, getting across that line as Griffin rolls. Griffin, maybe 1 more pull away, and Griffin, lane number 20, all set and done.
All right, getting ready towards the end of individual test number 1. Spencer Panchek, Jake Berman. 2 athletes out here on the competition floor. Got a few more minutes left to go. 30-minute time cap. And one part of this is, you know, part of the rules here, kind of the spirit of the competition is having to constantly attempt to finish out the test. So you would probably assume like, hey, just take a break. We're not going to finish this anyway, but part of the basic spirit of competition is continuing to take this test the entirety of the event.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we got about 30 seconds.
30 seconds left.
Bar you for another 30 seconds. Cheer them on. Let's go. Come on, boys. You're almost done with 20 seconds remaining. As you get the turnaround with 10 seconds remaining.
Spencer Panchik